My name is LeJeune, and today I'm going to give a 6-minute talk on superchargers. I wanted to do it on forced induction versus natural aspiration, but that topic was so broad and it was taking way more than 6 minutes. So, naturally aspirated engines are the most simple, at least compared to forced induction. Some people like to use the phrase, there's no replacement for displacement. Most people will argue that point, but it's true that it's hard to get the same power and torque curves with forced induction that you get with natural aspiration. So this is an LS motor. It's a crate motor. You can buy them pretty cheap and put it in most cars. On top here is carburetor, air in, and it determines how much gasoline is mixed with it. It goes through the intake here into the cylinders. So the air in this engine is going to be at atmospheric pressure. Superchargers, they're driven by the crankshaft, and the main goal of the supercharger is to increase the pressure of your intake. Increased pressure means that there's more substance to the air, and you put more gas in it, you get more powerful explosions, more power. But since they're driven by the crankshaft, they work as a load on the engine, meaning that you have some parasitic losses. Essentially, the engine itself is going to be producing less horsepower, but then the supercharger is going to boost that, so it's still helpful. There's 3 major types: root, screw, and centrifugal. I'll go over those later. It's common to use an intercooler with a supercharged engine because when you're pressurizing these gases, normally you're going to be increasing temperature. Increased temperature means that you have less pressure, and that's not good, and also increased temperature is bad for an engine. Things get too hot, you're going to have serious problems. So here's the intercooler on the bottom here. This is your radiator. And this is probably used with probably a turbocharger actually, which is not a supercharger. But the general idea, airflow comes in, and then the air running through it is cooled before it goes to the engine. Again, that gets you more dense air. There's 2 types of intercoolers, 2 major types of these: air-to-air and water-to-air. This one is air-to-air. The air flows over, and you get convection, which causes the air that you're using to get into the engine to get pulled down. Water-to-air does not have to be placed somewhere where there's airflow, which that is a good thing, meaning you can put it somewhere else, save space in your engine. They're normally smaller as well, but you are going to need water as a fluid. So it's maybe a little bit more complex. Water-to-air intercoolers are very good in short bursts. If you're drag racing or something like that, you can actually put ice in the water-to-air intercooler, or you could use some other type of fluid, which means very cold air coming in. But if you're going long distances, say you're going around the track multiple times, you're probably going to want an air-to-air intercooler, because the faster you're going, the more higher your convection coefficient, more your air is getting cooled, and it continues to work well. So, root style supercharger, probably the most recognizable, most widely used. They have good power throughout the RPM range, meaning they're probably the best one to use for everyday driving. But they are large. Sometimes, if you try to put one on aftermarket, you run into a clearance issue with the hood, meaning you might have to put the hood, put it over the hood, which looks kind of cool. So this is a root style supercharger, and these are spinning opposite of each other. They pull air in on the inlet side, it goes around and gets thrown out to the discharge. So it's a positive displacement type device, meaning air is forced in and it has to go to the discharge. Screw style superchargers are very similar to root style, but they operate in one major different way. The air is forced straight down through the middle. One of these is going to be rotating faster than the other, which is sucking the air in, making it go out to the discharge. These are better for low RPM power, meaning if you want to get good acceleration from a dead stop or something like that, it's going to be very good. But at high RPMs, just the nature of this, again, it's a positive displacement pump. It's not going to be spinning fast enough, not going to be sucking enough air in to really help you much at high RPM speeds. Centrifugal supercharger is similar to a turbocharger, which I'm not talking about, but it looks, okay, let's see. So its focus is on high RPM power. It's not a positive displacement device, meaning that the air is not forced in. The air is able to get around the outside of the impeller if it wants to. So at low RPMs, it's not very efficient because there's not enough of a pressure drop within that impeller to induce enough pressure to your inlet. So this is your centrifugal style supercharger. This belt is driven off of the crankshaft of the engine. So the faster the engine, the faster this is moving, the faster your impeller over here is moving. And your impeller sucks the air in on the suction side, and discharges it. Probably this is probably discharge. But anyway, your impeller is not sealed against the walls, meaning that the flow is not forced through. So it's not positive displacement. That's why it's good at high engine speeds and not so much at low. So what's best? If you look on forums online, everyone's going to have a different opinion. Some people don't have the facts right, but all in all, it really depends on what you're going for. If you want quick acceleration, you might want a screw style. If you want something you can use all the time and just increase the power of your engine, probably a root style supercharger. If you want to go really fast, but not get much benefit at low RPMs, probably want a centrifugal supercharger. Any questions?